right, everyone, you know what time it is. It's time for New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. Want to talk about Tyrod Taylor. Want to talk about Daniel Jones, because that seems to be the topic of conversation for everyone right now. Because why? When you come in and win a game, even though you did not score any more points than Daniel Jones did, but you are a 34-year-old journeyman now backup quarterback who comes in and does exactly what your $160 million quarterback does. $160 million. That's a hell of a lot of money. You know what also is a hell of a lot of money? Your wireless bill. Take a look at it. I looked at it the other day and I nearly fell over. That's why here we partner, of course, with the wonderful Mint Mobile. You know that I use it. You know that I use it extensively. You know I have multiple Mint Mobile lines. You've seen the commercials with Ryan Reynolds. They make you laugh. They make you cry. They make you think. But you know what? You know what you don't need to think about? Joining one of the largest 5G networks and paying as low as $15 a month for your plan. There's not much thinking in that, guys. None whatsoever. It includes everything. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk, text, plus the lightning fast 5G and free mobile hotspots. How can you do any better than that? You know I switched from a company, and I don't like using other companies' names, but like I said, it rhymes with Babison. And I sat there. You know how easy it was to switch? I'm not the most technically advanced guy. Everyone knows that. I went online. I placed my order. I got my SIM card. It showed up in the mail. Well, actually showed up FedEx, which was even better. And you know what I did? I went on the website. I plugged everything in. And within 15 minutes, I was up and running. You literally cannot get any better than that. And right now, for this month of October, if you go to trymintmobile.com/BigBlue, you see it below. You'll see the QR code. They have a special that's going to run until the end of October, which is coming up quick. Its special is limited, and like I said, it's a limited time offer. You get the unlimited plan, which is normally $30 for just $15 a month. Again, you see the URL, trymintmobile.com/BigBlue. You see the QR code, scan that, go start the savings, jump on a network that's going to make you smile. Like when I smile when I see Tyrod Taylor come into the game. It's trymintmobile.com/BigBlue. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. That's why we partner with them, because of the fact that you guys know for a fact that I go with, I go with my gut, and I try something before I even tell you to even look at it. And I'm almost on Mint Mobile now for a year, which is crazy. I haven't had with this other company, Babison, I had all these problems. I don't have any problems with Mint Mobile. Go right now. Lowest $15 a month. You don't sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. That's all I'm going to say. trymintmobile.com/BigBlue, or you can scan the QR code. Tyrod Taylor, the OG QB. Everyone knows I have my favorite sound effect now.
Who's he? The OG QB.
Kind of came in against Washington and Buffalo and kind of wrecked the dreams and the hopes and aspirations of certain segments of Giant fans. And it's not a bad thing. It just kind of proved a point. We heard after that big win against the vaunted Minnesota Vikings defense, which was ranked 32nd overall, we heard that Daniel Jones was the answer. We heard that Daniel Jones was the franchise quarterback. Then we went into Philadelphia, got wrecked. All during the offseason, we heard, we got to sign him when he signed him. Comes in and asks for $45 million. That's $45 million, guys. Or was it 50 at one point? For a guy that had an average NFL season. It seemed like he was trying to hold the Giants over a barrel. And I personally think, I've said it before, I think Shane blinked. I think Mara definitely blinked. And they bought into this contract. Now, a lot of people will tell you, well, it's not that bad of a contract. Technically, it's only a 2-year deal. Yes, and we said something right when this contract was signed. I said, if this goes south and goes south quickly this first season, you are going to have another bad season in 2024, and you are still going to owe this guy $20+ million in 2025 in dead cap space. So you're going to have a void season, let's say, or living in a void season in 2023, potentially another bad season in 2024, and then hopefully you get out of the contract without 2025, and hopefully you've drafted a quarterback. And I laugh because if you look at this logically, Tyrod Taylor, the OG QB, comes in 34 years old or 134 years old. He didn't get all the first team reps during training camp. He played during preseason. He hasn't been getting the first team reps for weeks. Comes in against the Buffalo Bills. Well, actually, first he came in against Miami, but he comes in to start against the Buffalo Bills, and you see a difference. You see something in the Giants now. You see a little hype. You see a little life. You see a little step up. They go from getting 12 and a half, 10 sacks a game, the offensive line, to getting like 3. And everyone says, well, the offensive line's just got so much better. I love it. Again, it's the call-in shows. Okay, we have Phil from Connecticut. Phil, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about how the Giants' offensive line has gotten so much better since Tyrod Taylor came in. So when Daniel Jones comes in, it's just going to be so much better for him.
It didn't get better. Justin Pugh is horrid. Justin Pugh looked like a turnstile. We talked about this against Chase Young. We talked about how bad he looked in Buffalo. I don't blame him. He's 497 years old and he's off the couch. You lost people to injuries. You brought back Phillips. And I love how people say, well, Phillips played so well in response to when Evan Neal went out. He played better. But he's still looking for Montez Sweat. Where'd he go? Oh, he went around me. I didn't even see him. Offensive line didn't get better. The quarterback play got better. And I love it because there was a statistic that Daniel Jones was pressured on 46% of his dropbacks before he went out with injury. Tyrod Taylor's been pressured on 48% of his dropbacks. That's 2 percentage points more. But somehow he's not taking 9, 10, 11 sacks. He doesn't hold on to the ball. He's able to process the play. He has pocket fluidity. He understands pocket awareness. He moves. He keeps his eyes always downfield. Look at the Barkley 30-yard touchdown run. He looked downfield, saw nothing, and then ran out of the pocket and dumped it off to Barkley. But he was still looking downfield. You also take a look at the fact that he audibles out of plays. He changes plays. We talk about the big run need he had for 20 yards, near the goal line. What happened? He checked out of that run, looked over the defense again, and checked back into it. And we've said a million times, it's okay to audible out of play. It's okay to check out of a play. Daniel Jones doesn't do this. So the whole narrative that we needed Daniel Jones, he was the $160 million man. We needed him to be successful. Saquon Barkley had nothing to do with this. We need Daniel Jones to be successful. You had a 34-year-old quarterback come in and wreck that whole theory. The Giants offense didn't skip a beat. They're still not scoring points, but they look better. It's almost like these first 2 games with Tyrod has been preseason. They look better. They're throwing the ball deep. They're taking shots. It's amazing to me that the 34-year-old journeyman quarterback who hadn't started a game since 2021, you are allowing him to throw deep instead of your going on 5-year veteran who's been in now the system for 2 years, been with the Giants for 4+ years, started the majority of that time. You don't let him cut it loose. Because bad things happen when you let Daniel Jones let plays develop. You get all the sacks like you got in Seattle. Bad things happen. You get all the sacks that you got in Miami. Because he doesn't process the plays fast enough. He doesn't understand you need to keep your eyes downfield while you're sensing the pressure, while you're sensing everything closing in on you. The worst thing that could happen to the Giants and Daniel Jones was to have Tyrod Taylor come in and play well. Has he played better than Daniel Jones? Yes. Does the offense look like it has a little bit more life, a little bit more oomph? Yes. Does the locker room? Hell, if you take a look at the pictures in the locker room, looks like they're having a ball under the OG QB. But at the end of the day, we've said it before, Tyrod's not going to be your answer. Tyrod's not the guy that you're going to hang your hat on. He's 34 years old. He's going to be 35. He's not under contract next year. You hope you're going to be able to bring him back. But who knows? If he keeps playing well, the market value for Tyrod Taylor may be too great for the Giants to bring him back. At the end of the day, it's about finding your right quarterback. And we've said this before. A lot of Giant fans only remember Eli Manning. They don't remember the quarterback desert that we lived in for years. Going back to Craig Morton and Norm Snead and Scott Bruner and Jeff Rutledge and Danny Cannell and Kent Graham and Dave Brown. You're not remembering those guys. You're just remembering Eli Manning carried this team forever and carried this team for 2 Super Bowls. Franchises don't normally hit consecutively on franchise quarterbacks. You usually go through a little bit. Look at the 49ers. They were lucky enough to hit on Montana, and they were lucky enough to trade with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get Young. And then they kind of bounced around for the likes of, like, what's his name? What was his name? Elvis Grbac, Steve Bono. The one kid that they drafted in the first round, Drucken Miller. They took forever to find their guy. They went out and tried to get Trey Lance, had Jimmy Garoppolo for a little bit, and now they've landed on Brock Purdy. You go through that desert. That's football. That's sports. That's life. Not everything you do is going to be a winner right out of the gate. But this just shows you dropped $160 million. And I know it's only like $90 million, but you dropped a $160 million value contract on a guy who had an average NFL season, on a guy whose best season, which was last year, statistically was below average on almost every single stat. But you dropped the money on him. And I always heard, well, no one else is going to be able to run the Daniel Jones. He's going to be a superstar, blah, 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 blah. And then the guy comes in, a 34-year-old journeyman quarterback comes in and wrecks your theory. So then you think, could a Mitchell Trubisky done the same thing that Tyrod's doing? Or same thing Daniel Jones? Could a Marcus Mariota come in and done the same thing and been cheaper? And which would have allowed you to save some of that money? Maybe build an offensive line? Maybe take care of some other issues you have on this team? Because at the end of the day, if you can bring in a guy who's 34 years old at the tail end of his career and have him play just as well and not better than your franchise quarterback, something is very wrong here. The Giants need to look into the 2024 draft and peer into the crystal ball and say, we got to find something, guys. We got to see something, guys. Anything. Because you know what? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying take some in the first round, but you take some in the second round. You can find a quarterback later in the draft. We've talked about this. But your $45 million, your $40 million, it's $40 million a year on average over the period of the contract. He's just not the guy. And I love it because we talked about how they didn't want to give, fan base did not want to give Saquon Barkley a contract because of the fact that he was injury prone, even though Daniel Jones only had one injury-free season, which was last year, and now he's already missed 2 consecutive games with a neck injury. And it's not the same injury that kept him out for 6 games last year or 2 years ago, but it's also a neck injury. I said it before. Tyrod was really going to screw things up for people if he played well. And him dropping bombs to Hyatt and him having that. I just wish we had him 5 years ago. Not that I think the Giants would go to a Super Bowl with Tyrod Taylor if he started the season and he was 5 years younger, but I have a feeling they would win and make it to the playoffs. Right now, it's going to be a scratch and fight to even sniff the playoffs. You're still sitting at 2-5. You still have some pretty tough games. You still have a bunch of divisional games. But at the end of the day, it's going to be the guy under center. And you overpaid for a guy who's being outplayed or matched. I'm not going to say he's being matched. He's being outplayed by a 34-year-old journeyman quarterback who hasn't started a game since 2001. There is something wrong with that situation. The Giants need to either look into the draft or they need to just look in free agency, find their bridge quarterback, because you're stuck with Daniel Jones next year no matter what. The cap implications alone it will preclude you from dealing Daniel Jones or waiving Daniel Jones. You would have to restructure that deal, which means you would have to spread money out over like 2024 and 2025, kind of like what we did with Leonard Williams. You're not going to do it. You can't do it. We can't keep rebuilding the salary cap by breaking it down and kicking money down the road. We need to start being smart because we weren't smart with the Kenny G signing. Everyone blamed. We weren't smart with the Nate Solder signing. And right now, we're not looking too bright with the Daniel Jones signing. We can't keep making these large mistakes. And yes, you can get out of large mistakes in a year and a half or almost 2 years now. But at the end of the day, you still have to find your quarterback. You got to find your guy now. Shane's got to find who he needs to play. I wish we had a time machine. I wish we had the DeLorean. I wish we could hit 88 miles an hour. You know what? Let's see. Can we go back? Hold on. You know what? I have it here.
Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
That's what we need to do. We need to go back to the future, get Tyrod Taylor 5 years younger, let him be the bridge. We talked about drafting a quarterback this year and letting Tyrod be the bridge. Well, right now, the bridge needs to be sold. We need to find someone who could afford the Brooklyn Bridge so we could sell him this bridge, also known as Daniel Jones. Got a lot of fun videos coming up. I will be at the Jet game, so make sure you make sure you're there on Sunday. Got a couple live streams, got a couple big videos coming up the next couple of weeks, so make sure you stay tuned. And again, as always, this is Tim. This is New York Giants Straight Talk, and you know what? I'm out of here.